Hi, I'm Courtney, and together with my husband Steve, we are Airstream Life. We travel full-time around the country in our 30-foot Airstream travel trailer. Today I'm going to talk about how to plan the best driving route for your RV. For other how-to videos, you can check out our how-to category on our YouTube page right up here. Okay. So first, obviously you need to know where you're going and where you're coming from. In general, we try to keep our driving routes between 2 to 3 hours. 3 hours is like our prime amount of time that we're on the road. A lot of other people will do much longer routes, but I'm going to assume that we're doing our typical 2 to 3 hour route. Once we've decided starting point and ending point, the next thing to check out is how you're going to get between point A and point B. If you have a RV GPS or a GPS that allows you to emulate being a semi-truck, this is when you should use it. That will show you and only take you on routes that they know a semi can take. We do not have that. So what we do is we use plain old Google Maps. We Google Map location A to location B. I then take that route and look at the same route on AllStays, the AllStays app, which we highly recommend. AllStays has things on it like if there are low tunnel clearances or bridge clearances or road grades or road limits, things like that. So I will look at the route that Google Maps set out for us and then look at that exact route on AllStays and see is there anything that I need to be aware of. I also, if the route looks particularly curvy or gnarly, will Google taking an RV on route blah, blah, blah. We've done this a number of times in Oregon when we were going to the Oregon coast. Some routes were more popular than others with people with RVs. And I wanted to make sure that we didn't take a route that was too stressful for Steve, my husband, to drive or for me to be a passenger in. Truck routes in general are fine. So if it's a major truck route, you're probably fine. But it's always good to check to just make sure. We've been on a couple roads where there have been length restrictions. We've always been within them, but I know that can be an issue when you have a longer rig. So figure out the route you're going to take using whatever method you have, and then if you're just using a normal GPS, I highly recommend checking out AllStays and or Googling to make sure that the route that Google is taking you is appropriate for your rig type. Now, once you have the route all planned, the next thing is where are you going to stop? We normally stop 1 to 2 times in a 3-hour route just to go to the bathroom, stretch our legs. If you have a longer route, you're probably going to stop even more than that. In this point, again, we use AllStays. AllStays has a lot of the rest areas and bigger truck stops on the app. And so when I'm checking out the route to make sure that it's going to be fine for our rig, I also kind of see where there are stops along the way that I think would be good for us. Usually a third of the way in and then 2/3 of the way in, something like that. Not all rest areas are on AllStays. There's also a RestStops, Rest Areas app. I'll make sure it's linked in the description below, as will everything I've talked about. That has a more up-to-date listing of the rest areas and information about them. So that's another way we can figure that out. In general, we tend to get diesel in our truck and make sure we're totally full up before we pull out for the day, before our moving day. But if we haven't done that and we need to get diesel, that's another thing that you have to plan into your route. Definitely don't want to be stuck in the middle of nowhere, running out of gas, and not have a place that you can pull in a rig your size, or not have diesel if you're in a diesel truck like us. So in general, I'll use AllStays again for that. They have a lot of the gas stations, especially the big truck stops. And for us, I look for Flying J's and things like that that have specific RV lanes. That's our favorite way of filling up with the Airstream in tow. If that's not an option, then we'll look for just truck stops. And if that's not an option, like in some of our recent trips, I'll look at gas stations that AllStays has on its app and make sure that it has truck parking spots and preferably an RV dump. Not because we need to dump tanks, though that's great if you do, but because if it has an RV dump, it is probably big rig friendly, or at least friendly enough that we know we can get diesel and not have to worry about it being too tight of a gas station. Another option just a heads up, for diesel or gas is GasBuddy. It's not specifically for RVs, so you can't know if the gas station is big enough for you, but it can tell you where there is gas and diesel and at what price. And they have a few more gas stations, or at least a few different gas stations than what we see on AllStays. A couple more points. When you are doing a GPS, if it's just the normal GPS like Google Maps, be aware that that is using the speed limit on the roads that it's mapping you on. When you're driving an RV, you're often not going the speed limit. You're usually going 5 to 10 below, especially on major highways where you have to go 5 to 10 below because that is the truck speed limit. So take the time that Google Maps gives you with a grain of salt. People have lots of different ways of telling you to add a 25% more, calculate the miles based on 50 miles per hour, all sorts of things. But just know the time that Google Maps gives you for your route is probably not accurate if you are driving an RV. The other thing to keep in mind when driving your RV on your driving route is when you are going to leave. This can make a huge difference in your route and how long it's going to take and how stressful the drive is going to be. Because if you're going through a city or a major populated area during rush hour with your RV, it is not that much fun. At least we do not think it is that much fun. So in general, we will try to aim any kind of drives through bigger cities so they are not during rush hour. And in general, we try to avoid rush hour as it is. And just keep in mind sunset times, sunrise times, and things like that. We don't have a specific time we leave. Normally, it depends on if we have a checkout from where we're staying or a check-in for where we're going or things like that. But when you drive, the driving route makes a big difference as well as where. So that's my advice, our advice on how to plan the best driving route for your RV. If you have any other pieces of advice, we'd love to hear them. Please leave them in the comments below so this becomes a repository for all of our viewers on how best to do this, because I know this is a stressful topic for many first-time RVers, and sometimes even for people who've been doing it for a while if it's a new location or new place. And if you want to follow our journey and see where we're going when we're planning all of these driving routes, please subscribe to our channel. We will see you next week for another how-to video. Bye, guys.